I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is a request. I want to thank everyone who has supported me both on my Patreon and my PayPal. If you ever want to support me on Patreon, the link to that is down below. Or if you want to send in a request via PayPal, whether it be a review of a movie or a topic or a pay-per-view or movie re-review of film I've done in the past or pretty much whatever. It doesn't have to be just movies. My PayPal link is down below as well. I want to thank everyone who has done that. I really appreciate it. And the review for today is Spider-Man Far From Home, which is a 2019 sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, starring Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Jon Favreau returns. You have Jake Gyllenhaal as the villain, Mysterio. You have Samuel Jackson in it as Nick Fury. This is a bit of a weird movie to talk about because I gotta set this up a little bit. I apologize for how long-winded this will be. If you want to hear my quick thoughts, I didn't mind the film. I think it does have issues. I can't say I hate it, otherwise I'd be lying. But I did not love it either. I'm kind of in the middle, but I would say a mild thumbs up. But Spider-Man Homecoming, that's a review I took down a while ago. Because I can't sit here and say I fucking hate Spider-Man Homecoming. I can't. I would be lying. But even when I reviewed it, and as time has gone on, there's a lot of flaws that keep popping in my head about that movie. I don't hate it, mainly for two reasons. I really like Tom Holland. I know a lot of people are starting to hate Tom Holland as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. I can agree with some of the writing of the character, but the actor, I think Tom Holland does a really good job as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I think the actor is definitely not the problem. Of the people who've been Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, I'm sorry, I never thought he was natural as Spider-Man. Peter Parker, maybe if I'm looking at him as the Opie Taylor, ready to hum the Andrew Griffith Show theme song, ready to think, golly gee willikers. I did say Raimi is trying to have like the Spider-Man of his youth growing up and the way back in the day. I get that, but I could never... Spider-Man was a comic book I read the most when I was a kid. I don't read comic books anymore. Not that I have anything against them. I just fell out of it. But when I was a kid, I would read a couple like Punisher, Ninja Turtles. Well, Ninja Turtles was a bit later on, honestly, because I found the cartoon and movies first, and then the comics, but Punisher, some other stuff, Preacher, which I enjoy. The comic, that is, not the show, because they changed too much stuff in my opinion, but that's another day. But the comic book I read the most was Spider-Man. And I had like a huge stacks of Spider-Man comics. And, you know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. I think Sam Raimi has some good direction with how he shot the action sequences, especially Spider-Man 2. I think they had the right choice for Aunt May in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. J. Jonah Jameson, wonderfully played by J.K. Simmons. But even then, like, to be or not to be Maguire, the Peter Parker maybe I could deal with, but it was still that sort of golly gee. And then Spider-Man 3, he cried more than people do at a funeral in Spider-Man 3. And just, Mary Jane seemed like a bitch. I'm surprised she didn't have a fucking leather and chains in her fucking dungeon and tie up Peter Parker every fucking night with how bitchy she seemed in those movies. Just, Kirsten Dunst, I didn't care for the way they did that character. Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe was just really hamming it up, and sometimes that could be fun, but Willem Dafoe, I don't know, he just... Maybe because the suit of Green Goblin was like a shitty Power Ranger suit, looked like a giant action figure, and then when you see that there was like a better looking suit for Green Goblin, I'm like, why the fuck did you not use that? You made it look like, again... Rita Repulso's going to come out. I like the guy who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. I'll give you that. Spider-Man 3 was a clusterfuck on every level. Like, oh, Venom. No, we don't have Peter Parker fucking dancing because he's now emo. Get the fuck out of here. The Amazing Spider-Man... A lot of issues with those movies, but I thought they had the right... It wasn't Mary Jane, it was Gwen Stacy. That actress I thought did a good job in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And that's what I mean, like, I see these three iterations, Amazing Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and these movies. And I'm like, if you combine these three, if you take some of the crazy direction of the action scenes and the Aunt May... and even the Uncle Ben stuff, and Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And I like the way the suit looked in that the best. If you take Gwen Stacy and Amazing Spider-Man, and to be honest, the music in Amazing Spider-Man 2 has grown on me. I gotta admit that. It's grown on me. I used to hate on it, but the music in Amazing Spider-Man 2 has grown on me. I gotta admit. Almost like an electric synthesizer. Oh, because electro, but still. And then Tom Holland in this movie. It's like if you combine the three of them, and maybe it's one of those things, as a big Spider-Man fan, the comics, I will just never be satisfied. And I'll just stick to the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Maybe that's truthfully the case. Spider-Man Homecoming, I like Tom Holland, but I don't like his fucking fat friend, Ned. The girl plays Mary Jane. I could give a rat's ass one way or another. I don't like that everybody and their fucking mom knows who Spider-Man is. It just makes me go, then why the fuck do you even wear a mask in the goddamn first place? Everybody, by the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, of course, Iron Man knows it. Jon Favreau's character knows it. Obviously, Nick Fury's going to know it. Fucking Aunt May knows it. Fucking Ned knows it. Michael Keaton, the villain, fucking knows it. Like, everyone fucking knows he's Spider-Man in his first fucking movie. And then this, it ends with everyone knows who he is. Which... I'll get to that. And it's just like, what the fuck is the point? Like, part of the point of Spider-Man is, number one, he's the everyday man. And don't worry, I will get to some positives I liked, but I'm going over the place. I don't like that they, with these new Spider-Man movies, it seems like with each Spider-Man film, I don't see the everyday guy. I saw a little bit of Spider-Man Homecoming. When he was in his neighborhood and the thing with the bicycle, stuff like that should be much more played up for humor. No, I should say as the humor. If you have humor, him is everyday occurrence, everyday kid. But then, because of this whole Iron Man thing, he now has the keys to the kingdom. He has all this high tech handed to him on a silver platter. Fucking Iron... I hate that Iron Spider suit. I almost puked. I hate that Iron Spider suit. Thankfully, it's only in the film a little bit. I fucking despised it in that overrated bullshit movie, Endgame. No, I'm sorry. That movie's fucking overrated as hell. Same with Infinity War. I know I just lost everybody, but to each their own. I don't think they're on, I don't think they're going to stand the test of time, but I'm sure I'm wrong. But I can give my honest opinion. Although I like this film more than those two, so I'll give it that, because I like Tom Holland. I think the action scenes in this are improved compared to the first one. The director kind of learned a couple things about handling the action sequences. The finale, the action scene finale where Spider-Man is dealing with all these drones and then the Mysterio's illusions, very well done. Very satisfying finale. There's a sequence involving his Spidey sense in the third act that I thought was fantastic. The way it was done. It was a really fuck yeah moment. When I don't know why his Spidey sense has not worked up till now, because that's actually a plot point, as they call it the Peter Tingle, whatever the fuck stupid shit. But when it is used, but I guarantee half the time won't be used when they do the next Spider-Man movie. It'll be conveniently forgotten again or some other bullshit because of plot contrivance. Jake Gyllenhaal is really good. Jake Gyllenhaal, they made Mysterio a decent fucking villain. That's pretty surprising on itself. When he does the illusions and is tricking Peter Parker, Spider-Man, once it's found out that this guy's the villain, it's trippy. It's interesting. It's cool. Especially on a visual level. So with Jake Gyllenhaal, the way he plays the character, the way that character is written, the action sequences, mainly in the third act, the Tom Holland's performance, that stuff makes me so I can't hate the movie. But I don't love it. I knew something was up when the very first moment of the movie is, and I will always love you. I'm like, am I watching The Hitman's Bodyguard by mistake? No, it's one of those school things where they're doing the in memoriam of Black Widow, Captain America, Tony Stark with the song by Whitney Houston that a kid did for school, and it's showing on the school, TVs. Which sadly I could see that being done, because I remember people doing that when I was in school. One thing that was interesting, but they never did anything with, is they bring up the idea of course, this takes place after Avengers Endgame. And about how some people disappeared for 5 years and then came back. So one guy goes, my little brother is now my older brother because I was gone and 5 years went by. That's an interesting idea and concept. And they do nothing with that. Because everybody that Peter Parker knew, I guess, was affected with it too. Every fucking person he knew. Aunt May, Jon Favreau's character, Mary Jane, Ned, Flash Thompson, the terrible Flash Thompson they have in this shit. Nobody else was affected. Like, I mean, like, they were all part of the blip. Nobody else is like, wow, this weird justification, no, juxtaposition of this 5-year gap. No. You would think that maybe like, oh, no. It's like they bring it up just, and like, forget about it. By the way, we brought it up, but you know, don't think about that anymore. Don't think about that aspect of it anymore. Just think of the fact that Iron Man's dead, and they want Spider-Man to be the new Iron Man. I'm like, I don't want him to be the new Iron Man. I want him to be Spider-Man. And the movie is trying to tell that story where Spider-Man's going to become his own, and that he's trying to get out of the shadow of Iron Man. I can appreciate that line of story, but I hate the fact that now you have 2 films, technically other multiple appearances. And let's be honest, how many movies do we think Spider-Man's going to be? Did as soon as, you know, well, it's the MCU now, but you could easily have it where a film comes out and it doesn't do as well. And then they always, these knee-jerk reactions. But how long do you think it's really going to go? 4, 5 movies, 6 movies. Something's going to happen. And then it's like, wow, good chunk of these movies are wasted in this Iron Man Jr. That when I wanted Spider-Man to come back was not to be Iron Man Jr. So, I'm sorry, I know it's played out, but mention Uncle fucking Ben. It's part of the goddamn story. I'm sorry. If you can mention Batman's parents being killed 802 times, you can mention Uncle fucking Ben, because it's part of why he does. The whole point of his character is that line that Uncle Ben told him. With great power comes great responsibility. That's part of the fucking character. Essential, I would even say. And you don't, that name hasn't even been mentioned once. Give me a fucking break. I will admit, like, the first third of the film, I was really not liking the film. I will be honest. Other than Tom Holland's performance, the first third of the film, I'm like, it's really trying to be more of a comedy like Homecoming, and that's kind of one of my issues. Like, okay, I get that you want to be humorous, but I didn't think Spider-Man should be flat-out comedy either. When I think of Spider-Man and humor, I think of John McClane in Die Hard 1. I'm not talking about the, you know, cursing part. I'm talking about the everyman in an extraordinary situation. Come to the coast, get together, have a few laughs. Like, that ordinary guy in an extraordinary situation, but then turn into flat-out comedy that's not helped by this annoying fucking idiot that's his buddy, Ned. Ned's dead, baby. Ned's dead. I hate this fucking fat bullshit character. I wish he wasn't in the fucking film. This Flash Thompson is a fucking geek. Mary Jane. In Homecoming, you never got an idea that she was into him. Now she's into him. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? The fucking Iron Spider suit. Hell, one of the fight scenes in the trailer is not even in the movie. There's like a fight scene he has with the Iron Spider suit and people are hanging and he talks to the cops. That's not in the fucking movie. Apparently it's in an extended cut. I'm like, there's other stuff you could have fucking cut out. If you don't cut shit. So that's what I mean. The first third of this film, I was like, oh my god, no. He has no Spidey sense because Aunt May hits him with a banana. It's like, you can dodge bullets, but you can't dodge bananas. And then even really Spidey couldn't even explain why the fuck his spider sense is not working. It's like the movie couldn't explain it. Like they try, but they fail. It's I don't know. It just it's like you're trying to explain it, but you don't really have an explanation for it. But then Jake Gyllenhaal comes in. And I like what they did to the Mysterio character. Now, the tough thing they had on a script front is this is a character that if you follow the comics, you know he's a bad guy. But the movie has to tell the story about how this guy is pretending to be a good guy, worked with Nick Fury, worked with all these, pretending to be a good guy, fooling people, and these 4 elemental monsters, a fire monster, a water monster. What you find out is Mysterio is creating these illusions and then pretend to be the hero. Because really, Mysterio is pretty much a con artist. Think of him as a used car salesman. And Jake Gyllenhaal plays it perfectly. And he's genuine when he's like heroic. And it's funny, I heard one time that Tobey Maguire was not going to be Spider-Man at one point, and they were going to have Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm like, if this is what Jake Gyllenhaal could have brought, I would have liked to have seen Jake Gyllenhaal as Spider-Man instead of Tobey Maguire back in the day. But Tobey Maguire, on a side note, once in a while there's a film I don't mind him in, like Pleasantville. I'm just not a Tobey Maguire fan. I can watch a film like Pleasantville, but usually I'm just not much a fan of him. I'm sorry. But anyway, just personal preference. With that said, I like what they did. It's hard in the fact that, okay, we as fans of the comics know he's got to be a bad guy. He's going to ultimately be a bad guy. So now you're just waiting for that to happen, so you're well ahead of the movie. Because if they did it differently, you get to the situation you had with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and people would be pissed off, so you're up shit creek. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So even though I'm like, well, I know where this is going, I know where the story's going, because I know the comics, I know the character Mysterio, I'm fine with them going this direction because I appreciate they're trying to be faithful to the character on that front. And Mysterio, again, is an interesting, fun character of a villain. For example, the scene where he tricks Spider-Man and he gets what he needs, and this is when the reveal happens, and they do it in a fun way, where he's like, thank you, man. Spider-Man leaves, and then you realize that everything around has been an illusion, and it dissipates. And then there's other people that work for him there, and he's like, we got it, and he has a fucking office party. Which the fact that, again, this character, the way he's doing this, makes it pretty entertaining. It makes the Mysterio, which I didn't think was that much of a character in the comics, like, they've done a pretty decent job with the actors they picked. Michael Keaton and the Vulture character here with Jake Gyllenhaal. And lo and behold, this is a character, a villain in a Spider-Man movie that does not become a good guy at the end. Holy shit. Thank goodness for that. In fact, even after death, he fucks over Spider-Man, which I'll get to. Well, a bad guy who is actually a bad guy at the end of the film too. Because usually with Spider-Man villains, Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man 1, he becomes sympathetic, or, you know... Well, I guess... Only that bit was like, Peter, like, don't tell Harry... ... He tries to do self-sacrifice. The Sandman... Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me. And it's like, okay, they don't do it in this, I appreciate. But yeah, as the movie's going on, getting back to that, some action scenes early on, I'm like when Spider-Man is trying to save his friends, like one of the first action scenes Spider-Man has, and he's bouncing his head on a fucking bell. Like there's a fucking bell tower and he's bouncing his head on it accidentally. And then he doesn't have the mask, so he has this stupid fucking fra mask, whatever the hell. I'm like, you know what? Humor is fine, but these are just straight up fucking stupid comedies at times. And that's not what it needs to be. But then that's sort of the problem with MCU. They make almost every movie into very comedic. And maybe that's one of the various reasons why I'm getting sort of sick of the MCU. Kind of weird that the last superhero film I really enjoyed in the past year was Joker, which is a very different, not really a superhero movie at all. So I would even say like the first half of the film, I'm like, I don't know about this movie, man. I don't care for Ned. I don't care for Flash Thompson. I don't give a fuck about Mary Jane. Why is him and Mary Jane have a thing now? They had nothing in the previous film. Where the fuck did that come from? Why is this fucking spider sense not working now? Like, there's no fucking explanation. The first action scene, he's just bouncing his fucking head like he's a fucking idiot. His suits don't look that good. I hate the fucking Iron Spider suit. This scene, he's wearing a stupid fucking mask. What the fuck is going on with this movie? Oh my god, I'm gonna hate this fucking film. But then when you really get Mysterio actually talking, and this is now that you know what's going on, you know, after you've seen the film and if you rewatch it, this is his con. Oh, I'm from an alternate reality. I'm from a multiverse, and there's these things killed my family, and you know, he like touches his ring, and meanwhile Peter Parker gets these glasses from Tony Stark, pretty much going that when he died, he give this to someone to be my successor, and it's some fucking security defense system named Edith. And I'm like, when the fuck did Tony Stark have this? If he had a system with all these fucking drones, why the fuck didn't he use this? I don't know. Maybe at the end of fucking Avengers Endgame. He had glasses that had like 1,000 fucking drones, security defense system. Why the fuck didn't he use this at all at the end of Avengers Endgame? That's what I mean. Like, sometimes this shit doesn't make sense. And Spider-Man's powers are cool enough. You don't need him high-tech shit. It's almost as if people go, Spider-Man's powers are not cool enough, and we can't let him punch. I don't know why the fuck you can't let Spider-Man punch in these movies. I never understood that. I didn't understand with Homecoming and this. Why make the decision that Spider-Man can't fucking punch? I don't fucking understand that shit. That's fucking stupid. But he don't need high-tech shit. His powers are already good. God, the more I'm talking, this is like a rant/review. But, I mean, I don't know how to title this. I really don't. Maybe discussion. Because I don't know if this is a rant or a review anymore. This is discussion. Patreon discussion. Spider-Man Far From Home. I mean, because I like Tom Holland. I like some of the action in the third act. I really like J. Gyllenhaal Mysterio. I like the bit where he's, again, they found him, Mysterio is the bad guy. He's using these illusions. So he'll like make these illusions of like tons of mirrors around Spider-Man, and all the reflections of Spider-Man start attacking him, and he's fighting them off. And then like a zombie Iron Man coming out of the grave trying to attack Spider-Man. I'm like, wow, this is really cool, trippy, well-directed stuff. I'm like, I know this is CGI, but this is CGI that I understand why they're using it in this instance. I wish more of the movie, I wish the movie had more of those type of scenes. And then near the end when all these drones are attacking, Spider-Man is doing these cool moves and using his brains and his webs to get all these drones and blow them up, and there's some decent camera work. Like compared to the finale and Homecoming, which was a kind of a muddled, dark fight with Vulture that was disappointing. Here, the fight with all these drones, I thought was fairly exciting. There's a moment he gets like a little shield that he makes, and then he's like smacking some fucking drones. Then he's in this like, I don't want to say a catwalk, but Jay Gyllenhaal's at the end of it. And he's made the illusion the drones are invisible because of his illusionary stuff, his conman stuff. And Spidey finally uses his spider sense, and the way that's utilized, and this like one swift motion, and the way the camera is, and he's going in and out, and like we the audience see like bits of his spider sense, and I thought that was a really cool visceral sequence. Again, that Jay Gyllenhaal is a bad guy. It's not one of those, I'm a bad guy, and then, oh, please forgive me, I'm a good guy. Sometimes that can work. I thought it worked for Doc Ock because Alfred Molina played it well in Spider-Man 2. But sometimes it don't. But here, like I said, he even, after he dies, he had one of his buddies, I guess in case something happens, doctor footage that make it seem as if Spider-Man killed him. It's like, I know who it is. It's Peter Parker. So he fucks over Spider-Man even after he dies. Which I'm fine with Spider-Man being on the run, because that was a lot of the Spider-Man comics. The police did not like him. The police thought he was a criminal. I remember he fought like the X-Men or Fantastic Four, one of those two groups, because they thought Spider-Man was a bad guy. And they're not sure, should he be trusted, should he not? But by this point, number one, the superheroes are going to vouch for him because Tony Stark loved him. And they'd be like, wait a minute, something's probably up because of all the crazy shit that's happened. If any of the superheroes believe this story, then they're a fucking idiot, a moron, and a dumbass. It'd be like, well, wait a minute, let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's happening. Spider-Man goes, oh, blah, blah, blah. The other thing, now that everyone knows he's Peter Parker, I'm sure they're going to try to find a weird way to fix that. The whole secret identity is important because it gives stakes, tension and stakes. Oh my god, I gotta keep this secret because I don't want them to know, because I don't want to put them in danger. So you put this balancing act where I gotta go with this, and it's like you're taking that shit away. That's what I mean. Like, I go positives, then I go negatives. I go positive, I go negatives. Same with Spider-Man Homecoming. Like okay, I was talking about earlier scenes that could be cut out. You don't need the fucking scene where Mary Jane, this one guy named Brad, Peter Parker has these glasses. He turns on the fucking glasses. And these glasses are the security system Edith. And even Edith is asking, would you want me to take care of the target? And he looks at Brad, he's like, yeah. Okay, neutralize, like kill him. He's like, what? I'm like, what the fuck do you expect would happen? Give him a fucking rub down, a jerk off session, a massage? It's like, and then this whole, it's attacking the bus that Brad and all the other kids are, and then Peter Parker's go up, and Webb, and after finally getting the glasses back and just Flash Thompson stole it for a minute. I'm like, this entire scene is completely pointless. It could have been easily cut out. And just at times, Peter Parker is fucking stupid. There's a point he has his pants down in front of a lady, not for obvious reasons. So he stupidly does that. He stupidly gives the fucking high-tech glasses that Tony Stark gave him to fucking Jake Gyllenhaal, who he's known for like a fucking day or two. The previous film, I thought he wanted to be an Avenger so badly. Now, I don't want to be a superhero so badly. Well, which the fuck is it? Which the fuck is it? God damn it. Am I sure this isn't a rant? I don't know. I mean, maybe because Spider-Man is such a character that I enjoyed when I was a kid, that even when I just see him in the suit, whether the suit's good or bad, it invokes nostalgia feelings in me of reading this character so many times when I was a kid. They even, well, Spider-Man 3 to me is still the ultimate worst one. Fuck that movie. But the other ones, even Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, which I wasn't really a fan of, and I still was like, it's Spider-Man. And Tom Holland needs a better script. Get this fucking director away from it. Why does this director have to direct every goddamn Spider-Man movie? I don't know why they get the same. Get some other fucking director and writer to do it. Why does this have to be European Vacation? National Lampoon's European Vacation. Why not mention Uncle Ben at least one fucking time in the movie? Why not have his humor be really the everyday in an extraordinary situation? But sometimes they make the supporting characters try to be flat out comedy. And I'm going, I don't need this fucking super for a supporting character. The whole Nick Fury thing, at the end of the film, you find out that Nick Fury and this other girl have been the Skrulls the whole time. So they were not even Sam Jackson, really? But they were working for Sam Jackson, because at the end Sam Jackson wakes up and he looks fatter and he's on a fucking spaceship. Why? And if that's the case, that still doesn't explain why you needed Spider-Man if you're faking to be Nick Fury when call fucking Scarlet Witch. Call fucking what happened to the new Captain America and his fucking shield? Oh, they save it for the TV show, that's why. But oh, and the other bit at the end is you find out that J. Jonah Jameson is in this, and it's also played by J.K. Simmons. I'm like, okay, I like J.K. Simmons. He's J. Jonah Jameson? Okay, well, you don't really have the dynamic of him working for the boss that hates his ass, because that was kind of the point, is that he has to work with this guy who treating him like shit, but also hates his alter ego. So it's an interesting dynamic, and none of that is in play here. So it's just kind of comes off as empty. So I think Tom Holland and the guy they played the villains in these, Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, and the way they write the villains, and even some of the, they're shining very brightly for me. And I think if they were dim, if they were taken out, then Homecoming and Far From Home probably would be rants. Because even though I can't say I hate them, I just hate a lot of stuff about them. I know that doesn't make sense. I know this is too long of a video, but I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how else to put it. So I would say if you like Homecoming, watch this movie. Because Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal do a good job. I do think the actresses are improved. I think there's a couple of really cool, trippy, illusionary stuff by Mysterio in the second half of the movie. I think the finale is a fun finale. I think there's a lot of stupid shit to it, though. So, I don't know, man. Maybe if you took Tom Holland and you put him in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and you had like Michael Keaton play Green Goblin, or with the better looking suit, I would probably like Sam Raimi Spider-Man a lot more. Because despite my misgivings on the first Spider-Man, even I can admit, the level of Spider-Man, the character, I get more than in these movies. It's just the performance of Spider-Man by Tom Holland I like much more than Tobey Maguire. So that's what I mean. Like, and maybe if the Sam Raimi Spider-Man were not as corny, cornball, cheesy, and I hate using that word. I don't know. That's why I think a combination of a bunch of this stuff, you could really have something. But I'm probably the only guy that thinks that. So this is the best I can do. I apologize, Forrest. I apologize to everyone. This went all over the place. I'll just put discussion because I don't know if I'm ranting or raving. But thank you. Take care. Thanks for watching my jumbled thoughts on this. And see you guys later. Bye-bye.